there exists a boundary on this planet that few ever cross. A line drawn not by diplomats or cartographers, but by the laws of atmospheric physics themselves. At 66 degrees south latitude, the world changes. The Antarctic Circle. Beyond it lies a continent locked in a state of suspended animation. A landmass buried beneath an ice sheet, so massive it contains 70% of Earth's fresh water and 90% of its ice. This is not merely a frozen wilderness. This is a place where the air cuts like glass, where silence becomes a physical weight pressing against the eardrums, where the very act of drawing breath into your lungs is a technical achievement against cold so profound it can stop a human heart in minutes. This is Antarctica. To the unprepared eye, it appears empty. A white void. The last great blank space on our maps. But that emptiness is an illusion. Antarctica is not a void. It is an archive. A frozen library holding the deepest secrets of our planet's climate history, compressed into layers of ice that have accumulated over millions of years. Within those crystalline depths lie air bubbles from 800,000 years ago, tiny capsules of ancient atmosphere, waiting to tell us what our world once was and what it may become. The surface temperature here can plunge to -80 degrees Celsius. Winds scream across the polar plateau at 320 kilometers per hour, carving the snow into sharp, wave-like ridges called sastrugi. The interior receives less than 2 inches of precipitation annually, making it officially a desert, the driest place on Earth. Yet it is also the wettest, holding more frozen water than all the rivers, lakes, and aquifers of every other continent combined. The ice sheet is so heavy it has crushed the bedrock beneath it, depressing the Earth's crust by hundreds of meters. If you could somehow remove all that ice, the continent would slowly rebound, rising, like a held breath, finally released. And yet, against every law of common sense, people live here. Not indigenous populations. Antarctica has never had those. But a rotating cast of scientists, engineers, mechanics, cooks, and support staff who inhabit a scattered archipelago of research stations, tiny islands of warmth and light in an ocean of ice. These are humanity's most remote outposts. Self-contained towns where survival is not a metaphor, but a daily, meticulous practice. Here's what most people will never tell you. Life in Antarctica is not about conquering the cold. It's about negotiating with it. every single day. Every breath, every step outside the airlock is a calculated risk, a contract signed with an environment that has no interest in your survival. The continent is governed by no nation. The Antarctic Treaty of 1961 set it aside as a natural reserve dedicated to peace and science. It is the only place on Earth where geopolitical borders dissolve into something larger, a shared experiment in human cooperation at the very edge of habitability. And it all begins at the threshold. The moment you cross the Antarctic Circle, your body knows something has changed. The light bends differently here. The horizon stretches impossibly far, distorted by the curvature of the ice and the clarity of air so pure it seems unreal. Distances become deceptive. A mountain that appears an hour away may be a full day's journey. The absence of trees, buildings, or any familiar reference points strips away your ability to judge scale. You are suddenly profoundly small. If you've made it this far into this story, you're already part of a rare group. Most people will never see this place. Most will never understand what it means to live on a continent that actively tries to expel you. But here at Hidden Regions, we don't tell the easy stories. We go where the maps end and the mysteries begin. So if you want to see more of the world's most extreme, hidden, and mysterious places that redefine what it means to be human, hit that subscribe button. Because this journey is just beginning. Drop a comment telling me where in the world you are watching from. I want to know exactly how far these hidden stories are reaching. While the landscape appears empty, we are about to enter a world where the very act of breathing is a technical achievement. The C-130 Hercules transport plane drops through a pocket of turbulence and the cargo bay shudders. Through the small porthole window, the Southern Ocean churns below gray, violent, endless. Then, without warning, it ends. Ice. Not the delicate kind you find in a freezer. This is industrial ice. Glacial ice. Ice that has been compressed under its own weight for millennia until it glows a deep, otherworldly blue. The plane descends toward a runway carved from the frozen sea itself, and the passengers, scientists, technicians, a chef, a plumber brace for landing. Welcome to McMurdo Station. From above, it looks like a mining camp on an alien planet. 'The a dense cluster of dark buildings perched on the edge of Ross Island, surrounded by an infinite expanse of white. McMurdo is the largest human settlement in Antarctica, a high-tech island of life in a sea of ice. During the austral summer, over 1,000 people live and work here. It has dormitories, laboratories, a coffee house, a general store, even a bowling alley. It is a town. A strange, temporary, utterly essential town. But before anyone is allowed to step into that town, they must first be transformed. The first stop is the clothing issue facility known simply as the warehouse. This is where the ritual begins. New arrivals are handed their extreme cold weather ECW gear, a multi-layered survival system engineered to keep a human body functional in conditions that would otherwise kill it within minutes. There are the base layers, synthetic fabrics designed to wick moisture away from the skin. Sweat is the enemy here. Wet clothing loses its insulating properties. Wet clothing can kill you. Then the insulating layers, thick fleece, down-filled parkas, rated to -50 degrees Celsius, wind-proof outer shells with fur-trimmed hoods. The iconic big red parka becomes your second skin. Finally, the extremities. Insulated boots, rated to -100 degrees, liner gloves, heavy mittens, balaclavas, ski goggles to protect against snow blindness. Every piece of gear is accounted for, tagged, and issued with the seriousness of military equipment. Because that's what it is, life support. For many, the first few days at McMurdo are a period of acclimatization. Not just to the cold, but to the altitude. McMurdo sits at sea level, but the polar plateau beyond it rises to over 2,800 meters. The air here is thin, dry, and shockingly pure. It is air as it existed before the Industrial Revolution, before pollution, before particulates, before the fingerprint of 7 billion people breathing in unison. Some people feel it immediately. Shortness of breath, a faint headache, fatigue that seems disproportionate to the effort expended. This is what the locals call being beaked, the body's protest against an environment it was never designed to inhabit. A unique lexicon develops among the inhabitants. Freshies, for fresh fruit and vegetables, which arrive in limited quantities and are devoured with reverence. Toasty, for the heated indoor spaces. Condition 1, for the most dangerous weather. Language adapts to necessity. Words become tools. But McMurdo is only the gateway. The entry point. The last outpost of relative comfort before the true Antarctica begins. Beyond its steel walls and heated corridors lies a world governed not by human schedules or conveniences, but by forces far older and far more powerful. The true nature of this society is found in how its people interact within these walls and what happens when they step outside them. Inside the galley at McMurdo Station, a woman in a stained apron scrubs a massive steel pot in a sink filled with scalding water. Steam rises in clouds around her face. She is methodical, efficient, her hands moving with the practiced rhythm of someone who has done this 1,000 times before. Beside her, a man in jeans and a faded sweatshirt dries dishes and stacks them onto a rolling cart. They work in companionable silence, interrupted only by the occasional muttered joke or the clatter of silverware. It's a scene you could find in any institutional kitchen anywhere in the world. Except for one detail. The woman scrubbing pots holds a PhD in atmospheric chemistry from MIT. The man drying dishes is a lead glaciologist whose research on ice sheet dynamics has been cited in over 300 scientific papers. Last week, he presented his findings at a conference in Geneva. This week, he's on dish duty. This is the house mouse. In Antarctica, status is irrelevant. Titles mean nothing. A world-renowned physicist and a first-year dishwasher share the same cleaning duties, the same chores, the same unglamorous labor required to keep the station functional. It is called the house mouse rotation, and it is one of the most fundamental aspects of life here. Everyone takes a turn. No exceptions. It is a radical flattening of social hierarchy, born not out of ideology, but out of survival. In an environment this extreme, interdependence is not optional. The cook who prepares your meals is just as vital as the scientist drilling ice cores. The mechanic who keeps the generators running is just as essential as the doctor who treats frostbite. If any one part of this system fails, the whole thing collapses. The society that forms here is unlike any other on Earth. Walk into the dining hall at lunchtime, and you'll see researchers seated next to electricians, pilots next to janitors, all eating the same food, sharing the same tables. Conversations range from quantum physics to the best way to thaw a frozen fuel line. Knowledge flows freely. Respect is earned not by credentials, but by competence and attitude. There is no room for ego in Antarctica. The ice doesn't care about your resume. Dr. Sarah Kenton, a marine biologist studying krill populations, describes it this way: "You learn very quickly that your job title is just a label. What matters is whether you show up on time, whether you pull your weight, whether you help someone else when they need it." I've had some of the most intellectually stimulating conversations of my life while mopping floors with a plumber. This ethos extends to every aspect of station life. Work schedules are posted on communal boards. Safety briefings are mandatory for everyone, regardless of rank. When a storm shuts down outdoor operations, everyone retreats indoors and waits together. When the annual supply ship arrives, the entire station mobilizes scientists, cooks, administrators, all forming a human chain to offload thousands of pounds of cargo before the narrow resupply window closes. It is a society built on mutual dependence and shared responsibility. But this social balance, this enforced equality, is tested the moment one steps outside the airlock. Because beyond the heated corridors and communal dining halls, the Antarctic environment imposes its own hierarchy. Not one of status or education, but of survival. Out there, the weather governs everything. It dictates when you can work, when you can move, even when you can breathe. Out there, nature is the ultimate authority. And nature in Antarctica is unforgiving. The airlock door hisses open. Cold rushes in like a living thing. And the flat society steps into the domain of the weather. The wind hits like a fist. Not a gust. Not a breeze. A wall of air moving at 80 kilometers per hour, carrying with it millions of tiny ice crystals that scrape exposed skin like sandpaper. Within seconds, any moisture on your face, the corner of your eye, the edge of your nostril, begins to freeze solid. This is condition 2. The weather system in Antarctica is not measured in forecasts or predictions. It is measured in conditions, a 3-tier protocol that dictates what is and is not survivable outside the station walls. Condition 3 is normal. Clear skies or light winds. Visibility extends for kilometers across the ice. Outdoor work proceeds as planned. Scientists venture to field sites. Mechanics, service equipment. The rhythm of station life continues uninterrupted. Condition 2 is a warning. Winds increase. Visibility drops. The horizon begins to blur as blowing snow fills the air. Travel outside becomes restricted. Pairs are required. No one goes anywhere alone. Communication protocols tighten. Check-ins become mandatory every 30 minutes. The station holds its breath. Condition 1 is lockdown. When Condition 1 is declared, a siren sounds throughout the station. All outdoor activity ceases immediately. Anyone caught outside has minutes, sometimes only seconds, to find shelter. Doors are sealed. Hatches are secured. Life retreats entirely indoors, and the world outside becomes a white hell of wind and ice. Field researcher Marcus Chen experienced Condition 1 during his second week at McMurdo. He had been checking instruments at a site less than half a kilometer from the main building when the weather turned. One moment, I could see the station. The next, it was gone. Just erased. The wind was so loud, I couldn't hear my own voice. I couldn't see my hand in front of my face. White. Everything was white. He followed the protocol drilled into every person who sets foot on the ice. Stop moving, activate your emergency beacon, hunker down, and wait. Within minutes, a search team reached him using GPS coordinates, guiding him back to the station along a safety rope. I thought I knew what a blizzard was, he says quietly. I didn't. The whiteout is not like a snowstorm in the temperate world. It is a complete sensory erasure. Up and down lose meaning. Distance becomes impossible to judge. People have frozen to death 10 meters from a heated building because they walked in the wrong direction and never realized their mistake. During Condition 1, the station becomes a sealed capsule. Work continues indoors, laboratories remain active, kitchens keep running, maintenance crews monitor systems, but the outside world ceases to exist. Hours pass. Sometimes days. The wind howls against the walls with a sound like a living thing trying to get in. In the silence between gusts, you can hear the building creak under the strain. The storm passes eventually. They always do. The siren sounds again, 2 short bursts, signaling the all clear. Doors unseal. People emerge cautiously, blinking against the sudden brightness of a world scrubbed clean by wind. The snow has rearranged itself. Drifts have piled against doorways, burying equipment, transforming the landscape into something unrecognizable. Teams mobilize immediately to dig out, to reclaim the space that the storm tried to take back. If the weather governs when you can move, it is the invisible logistics that dictate how long you can stay. Because every meal, every tool, every battery, every drop of fuel, all of it must be brought here from the outside world. And there is only one chance each year to get it right. The icebreaker, Nathaniel B. Palmer, appears on the horizon in late January, her red hull stark against the blue-white expanse of the Ross Sea. She has traveled 4,000 nautical miles from New Zealand, smashing through sea ice up to 3 meters thick, and she carries the lifeblood of McMurdo Station, 11 million pounds of cargo. Food. Fuel. Scientific equipment. Spare parts. Medical supplies. Everything the station will need to survive the next 12 months is packed into her holds. And she has exactly 14 days to offload it all before the sea begins to freeze and she risks being trapped in the ice. The annual supply vessel is a frantic race against time. A countdown measured not in hours, but in the dropping temperature of seawater, in the advancing edge of the polar winter. If the ship doesn't leave before the ice thicken, it won't leave at all. The clock is always ticking. The moment the ship docks, McMurdo transforms into controlled chaos. Every available person is mobilized. Scientists abandon their labs. Cooks step away from their kitchens. Everyone, regardless of job title or expertise, becomes part of the offload operation. They call it Vessel Ops, and it operates on a simple principle. Nothing matters more than getting this cargo off the ship. The process is brutally physical. Forklifts shuttle pallets from the cargo hold to the pier. From there, teams form human chains, passing boxes hand to hand in continuous relay. Crates of frozen food. Barrels of diesel fuel. laboratory instruments packed in foam and bubble wrap. One after another, moving in a rhythm that cannot afford to break. The cargo is pre-sorted and labeled with a precision that borders on obsessive. Every item has been catalogued months in advance. Every calorie accounted for. Menus have been planned for the entire year: breakfast, lunch, and dinner for every single day, calculated to provide adequate nutrition for a population that fluctuates between 50 and 1,000, depending on the season. The frozen food goes into vast walk-in freezers that could store enough provisions to feed a small city. Canned goods are stacked floor to ceiling in warehouses designed to withstand the weight of years' worth of supplies. Fuel is pumped into massive tanks buried beneath the ice, enough to power generators, heat buildings, and run vehicles through the endless months when no resupply is possible. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is left to chance. In the ship's galley, Chief Logistics Officer Amanda Reyes walks through the cargo manifest on a tablet, checking items off with mechanical efficiency. "We plan this a year in advance," she explains. Every meal. Every ingredient. If we run out of coffee in August, there's no store to restock. There's no delivery truck. You just don't have coffee. So we don't run out. The same meticulous planning applies to everything. Replacement parts for critical machinery. Batteries for scientific instruments. Medical supplies for the station clinic. Even entertainment books, movies, games is factored into the psychological health equation. Fresh produce, freshies, is a rare luxury. The first shipment of apples, oranges, lettuce, and tomatoes arrives with the resupply vessel and is consumed with near religious reverence. People line up in the galley just to smell a fresh orange, to run their fingers over the waxy skin of an apple. Within weeks, it's gone. The rest of the year, the diet is frozen, canned, or dried. The offload runs 24 hours a day. People work in shifts, rotating through the human chain, taking brief breaks to warm up before heading back out. Muscles ache. Hands go numb, despite insulated gloves. But the work continues. On the 12th day, the final pallet is lifted from the hold. A cheer goes up from the exhausted crew. The ship's captain signals departure. Lines are cast off. The Nathaniel B. Palmer turns slowly in the narrow channel and begins her long journey back to open water, leaving McMurdo to face the oncoming winter alone. In this world of frozen cans and dried grains, the greatest luxury is something most of the world takes for granted. The door to the hydroponic greenhouse hisses open, and the world changes. Warmth, humidity, the smell of earth. It hits you like a memory you forgot you had. The air is thick, almost tropical, a jarring contrast to the bone-dry cold of the station corridors. Condensation beads on the glass walls, reflecting the artificial grow lights in shimmering patterns. And everywhere green. Rows of lettuce in PVC pipe channels. Cherry tomato vines climbing trellises. Basil, cilantro, and parsley in hydroponic trays. The leaves are impossibly vibrant, almost aggressive in their color. In the midst of a world composed entirely of white, blue, and gray, this small room is an explosion of life. People come here just to sit, says botanist Dr. Elliot Tang, adjusting the pH balance of the nutrient solution feeding the lettuce. Not to eat. Not to work. Just to be. To remember what green looks like. What humidity feels like. The greenhouse is more than a source of supplemental food. It is a sensory escape. A psychological anchor in a place that offers almost no sensory variation. The monotony of Antarctica, the endless white, the recycled air, the same walls, the same faces, day after day, can grind down even the most resilient mind. But here, in this humid pocket of controlled chaos, the brain finds relief. Touch. Running your fingers along a tomato vine, feeling the fuzz of the stem, the smooth firmness of ripening fruit. Smell. The earthy vegetal aroma of growing plants, mixed with the faint sweetness of herbs. Sound. The gentle burble of water circulating through the hydroponic system, the hum of grow lights, the soft rustle of leaves. Taster. A handful of fresh lettuce, crisp and slightly bitter, a flavor so vivid it almost hurts after months of frozen vegetables. The harvest is small but precious. A few pounds of lettuce each week. A handful of tomatoes. Fresh herbs to garnish an otherwise monotonous meal. but the impact is enormous. The kitchen staff treats these ingredients with reverence, incorporating them into meals with the care of fine dining chefs. The dining hall is the heart of the station. Not just because it's where people eat, but because it's where they gather, where they talk, where they laugh, where they maintain the fragile threads of community that keep isolation from becoming loneliness. Meals are served at fixed times: breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and the routine provides structure in a world without natural temporal cues. During the polar summer, the sun never sets. During the winter, it never rises. Without the rhythm of daylight and darkness, the human body loses its sense of time. Meals become the clock. The chefs here are unsung heroes. They work with a limited palate: frozen meat, canned vegetables, dried grains, and somehow create variety. Taco Tuesday, Stir-Fry Thursday, fresh-baked bread on Sundays. The smell of baking bread in an Antarctic research station is a small miracle, a defiant act of normalcy in an abnormal place. Food is morale, says head chef Vanessa Ortiz, kneading dough for the week's pizza night. A good meal can turn around a bad day. A bad meal can ruin morale for a week. We take that seriously. While some cultivate life indoors, others are drilling kilometers into the past to find secrets buried for eons. 300 kilometers from the nearest research station, a cluster of yellow tents clings to the surface of the East Antarctic ice sheet. The landscape here is featureless, a white plain extending to every horizon, broken only by the distant serration of mountains buried to their peaks in ice. This is a deep field camp, and it exists for one purpose: to drill into the past. The drill rig stands in the center of the camp, a skeletal tower of metal and cable rising 4 meters above the ice. It looks fragile, almost toy-like, against the vastness of the plateau. But appearances deceive. This machine is capable of boring through ice with surgical precision, extracting cylindrical cores from depths exceeding 3 kilometers ice that fell as snow before humans built their first cities, before they discovered fire, before they stood upright and looked at the stars. Dr. Helena Voss, a glaciologist from the University of Copenhagen, has spent 3 months here. She wears the exhaustion like a second skin, the fatigue etched into the lines around her eyes, the slow deliberation of her movements. But when she talks about the work, her voice sharpens with intensity. Every meter we drill is a journey backward in time, she explains, her breath forming clouds in the -30 air. The ice at the surface fell last year. 100 meters down, it's medieval snow. At 2 kilometers, we're in the last ice age. At 3 kilometers, she pauses, her eyes distant. We're reading the atmosphere from 800,000 years ago. The process is painstaking. The drill descends slowly, carving a 10-centimeter diameter core from the ice sheet. Every few meters, the drill is retracted, and the core segment is carefully extracted, logged, measured, and packaged in insulated containers. Each piece is treated with the reverence of an archaeological artifact, because that's exactly what it is. The ice is not just frozen water. It is a pressurized record of Earth's climate history. Trapped within the crystalline matrix are tiny air bubbles, microscopic capsules sealed off as the snow compressed into ice over millennia. Those bubbles contain samples of the ancient atmosphere: carbon dioxide, methane, oxygen, nitrogen, all preserved in the exact ratios that existed when the snow first fell. By extracting and analyzing these bubbles, scientists can reconstruct past climates with astonishing precision. They can see the rise and fall of greenhouse gases. They can track global temperature fluctuations. They can identify volcanic eruptions from the particulates suspended in the ice. They can literally read the planet's climate history, year by year, century by century, back nearly 1 million years. This is our Rosetta Stone, Helena says, holding a freshly extracted core segment up to the light. The ice glows a deep, translucent blue, the blue of compressed time, of air squeezed out over eons until only the purest ice remains. Everything we need to know about our current climate crisis is written here. We just have to learn how to read it. The camp operates in shifts, drilling around the clock during the brief summer window when temperatures are survivable and equipment can function. The crew lives in insulated tents, heated by diesel generators, sleeping in shifts between drilling rotations. Meals are freeze-dried rations, rehydrated with melted snow. Washing is a luxury reserved for emergencies. The work is everything. Living here is isolation within isolation. McMurdo Station, with its coffee shop and bowling alley, might as well be on another planet. Communication with the outside world is limited to brief satellite phone calls and slow, text-only email transmissions. The crew of 8 people becomes a self-contained universe, bound together by shared purpose and the understanding that out here, beyond the reach of rescue helicopters, survival depends entirely on one another. At night, when the drilling stops for maintenance, the silence is absolute. No wind. No engines. Just the faint creak of the ice sheet settling under its own immense weight, a sound like the planet breathing. One night, standing outside the main tent, Helena looks up at the sky. The Milky Way stretches overhead in a band so dense with stars, it looks three-dimensional. The aurora australis shimmers on the southern horizon, curtains of green and violet light rippling across the darkness. People ask me why I do this, she says quietly. Why I spend months in a tent, on a frozen desert, drilling holes in the ice. And I tell them, because someone has to remember. Someone has to keep the record. The ice remembers everything. We just have to listen. These researchers are looking down into the Earth, but at the South Pole, others are looking in the opposite direction. The Amundsen-Scott South Pole Station sits at 90 degrees south latitude, the exact axis of the planet's rotation. Here, all lines of longitude converge. Every direction is north. Time zones become meaningless. The sun rises once a year and sets once a year, and for 6 months at a time, the sky is either endless day or endless night. This is the most remote, permanently inhabited research facility on Earth. The station itself is a marvel of engineering, a massive modular structure elevated on hydraulic stilts, designed to walk upward as snow accumulates beneath it. The building is aerodynamic, its curved edges deflecting the relentless katabatic winds that scream down from the polar plateau at speeds exceeding 100 kilometers per hour. Inside, it's warm, brightly lit, almost cheerful, a stark contrast to the hostile void outside. But the station's true purpose lies not in its living quarters or laboratories. It lies in what it can see. The South Pole offers a window to the cosmos, unlike anywhere else on the planet. The air here is astonishingly dry, drier than the Sahara, drier than the Atacama Desert. Atmospheric water vapor, which distorts and absorbs electromagnetic radiation, is virtually non-existent. Combine that with the high altitude of the polar plateau, 2,835 meters above sea level, and 6 months of uninterrupted darkness, and you have the clearest, most stable astronomical observing conditions on Earth. Astrophysicist Dr. Naveen Kapoor gestures toward the cluster of telescopes arrayed on the snow outside the station domes and dishes and angular arrays of antennae, all pointed upward like mechanical flowers reaching for absent sunlight. "We're studying the cosmic microwave background," he explains. "The afterglow of the Big Bang." It's the oldest light in the universe radiation that's been traveling through space for 13.8 billion years. And the best place on Earth to observe it is right here at the bottom of the world. The South Pole Telescope, SPT, is a 10-meter dish designed to detect faint fluctuations in the cosmic microwave background, mapping the large-scale structure of the universe and testing fundamental theories of cosmology. The data it collects helps scientists understand dark matter, dark energy, and the very shape of space-time itself. But the research here goes deeper still, literally. Buried beneath the ice, extending down more than 2 kilometers, is the IceCube Neutrino Observatory. It consists of over 5,000 optical sensors embedded in the ice, arranged in a cubic kilometer of instrumented volume. The sensors are searching for neutrinos, ghostly subatomic particles, so elusive they can pass through the entire Earth without interacting with a single atom. Neutrinos are cosmic messengers, Naveen explains. They're produced in the most violent events in the universe: supernovae, black holes, gamma-ray bursts. By detecting them, we can study phenomena we can't observe any other way. The ice itself acts as the detector. When a neutrino on rare occasion collides with a molecule of ice, it produces a flash of blue light called Cherenkov radiation. The buried sensors detect that flash, and sophisticated algorithms reconstruct the neutrino's energy and trajectory, tracing it back to its source somewhere in the distant cosmos. Life at the exact axis of the planet is profoundly disorienting. There is no east or west, only grid north and grid south, artificial directions imposed on a place where geography breaks down. GPS systems malfunction. Compasses spin uselessly. The human sense of direction evolved over millions of years in temperate latitudes, simply fails. And then there's the altitude. The South Pole sits at 2,835 meters above sea level, but the effective altitude, due to the cold, dense air and the centrifugal effect of Earth's rotation, is closer to 3,500 meters. Newcomers experience altitude sickness, headaches, nausea, shortness of breath. The body struggles to adapt. But those who stay, those who endure the acclimatization, are rewarded with a perspective available nowhere else on Earth. They live at the axis of the planet's rotation, in the clearest air, under the darkest skies, surrounded by instruments probing the deepest mysteries of the universe. At the pole, the sun only sets once a year. When it does, the real test of the human spirit begins. February 22nd. The last flight of the season. The LC-130 Hercules sits on the skiway, engines idling, exhaust forming plumes in the cold air. A small group of people stands nearby, the summer crew, those whose contracts have ended, who are heading home to warmth and daylight and the ordinary rhythms of the outside world. And then there are the others. The ones staying behind. 48 people at the South Pole. 63 at McMurdo. Scattered handfuls at smaller stations across the continent. They are the winter over crew, and they are about to become the most isolated humans on the planet. The plane's cargo ramp closes. The engines roar. The aircraft accelerates down the icy runway, lifts off, and banks north towards civilization. Within minutes, it's a speck on the horizon. Then it's gone. For the next 9 months, there is no way in and no way out. No resupply flights. No medical evacuations. No escape. The temperatures will drop to -80 degrees Celsius. The darkness will be absolute. If something goes catastrophically wrong, a fire, a medical emergency, a mechanical failure, the people here will have to solve it themselves. Help is not coming. This is total isolation. The astronauts aboard the International Space Station are more accessible than the winter over crew in Antarctica. The ISS can be evacuated in hours if necessary. Antarctica cannot. For 9 months, these small groups of people are more cut off from the rest of humanity than any explorers in history. The first few weeks are a period of adjustment. The station quietens. The frenetic energy of summer operations gives way to a slower, more deliberate rhythm. People settle into routines. Labs continue running. Maintenance schedules are meticulously followed. The work doesn't stop, it just changes character. But the real transformation begins when the sun sets. At the South Pole, this happens in late March. The sun, which has been circling the horizon for months, finally dips below it and disappears. The sunset lasts for days, a slow, gradual dimming as the sky transitions through deepening shades of orange purple, and violet. And then, darkness. For the next 6 months, there will be no sunlight. None. The world exists in a perpetual twilight of stars, moon, and aurora. The psychological impact is profound. The human body is governed by circadian rhythms, internal clocks synchronized to the cycle of daylight and darkness. When that cycle disappears, the body's systems begin to drift. Sleep becomes erratic. Energy levels fluctuate unpredictably. Mood regulation becomes more difficult. Some people experience what's known as polar T3 syndrome, a decrease in thyroid hormone levels that leads to lethargy, depression, and cognitive sluggishness. The station clinic monitors everyone closely, checking blood work, administering light therapy, watching for signs of psychological distress. The first month of darkness is the hardest, says station manager Colin Reeves, a veteran of 3 winter overs. People get quiet. Withdrawn. You see them staring out the windows at nothing. But after that first month, most people adapt. They find their rhythm. They find ways to cope. Coping mechanisms are highly individual. Some people throw themselves into work, spending 12-hour days in laboratories or maintenance bays. Others develop elaborate hobbies, learning instruments, writing novels, creating intricate models. Physical exercise becomes essential. The station gym is in constant use. Social bonds deepen. With no escape, no privacy, no break from the same 48 faces, day after day, conflicts can escalate quickly. But so can friendships. People learn to read each other's moods, to give space when needed, to offer support without being asked. The winter over crew becomes a kind of family, dysfunctional at times, but bound by shared experience. The most important day of the entire winter is June 21st, Midwinter's Day. It's a tradition that dates back to the earliest Antarctic explorers, a celebration marking the halfway point of the long night. On this day, every Antarctic station, regardless of nationality, holds a feast. Menus are planned months in advance. The best ingredients are saved. Handmade gifts are exchanged. Messages are sent between stations via satellite, connecting the scattered communities in a moment of global solidarity. At the South Pole, the celebration begins at noon. An arbitrary concept here, but tradition persists. The galley is decorated. Music plays. The feast is elaborate roast meats, fresh-baked bread, desserts, crafted with meticulous care. People dress up. They laugh. They toast absent friends. For a few hours, the isolation recedes. The darkness outside doesn't matter. Because inside, there is light. This darkness is not just a challenge to the mind, but a physical shift in how humans relate to the planet itself. August 19th. The sky in the north begins to glow. It starts subtly, a faint lightening along the horizon, barely perceptible at first. But day by day, the glow intensifies. The twilight deepens into color. Oranges and pinks bleed across the ice. And then, on September 21st, exactly 6 months after it disappeared, the sun touches the horizon. The entire Winter-Over crew gathers outside. They've been preparing for this moment for weeks, planning the sunrise party, decorating the station, preparing a celebratory meal. But now, standing on the ice in the -50 cold, bundled in their gear, they are silent. The sun is a sliver of molten gold, impossibly bright after months of darkness. It doesn't rise quickly, it creeps, millimeter by millimeter, as if reluctant to return. But return it does. Someone starts clapping. Then someone else. And then the whole group erupts in cheers, shouting into the cold, their voices swallowed by the vastness of the plateau. Tears freeze on faces. People embrace. The emotion is raw, unfiltered. You don't realize how much you miss it, whispers engineer Maria Santos, her voice breaking. The sun. You take it for granted your whole life. But after 6 months, without it, God. It's everything. The return of the sun marks more than just the end of darkness. It marks the end of isolation. Within weeks, the first flights of the new season will arrive, bringing fresh faces, fresh food, news from the outside world. The Winter-Over crew's long vigil is almost over. But something has changed. For those who have endured the long night, the world outside no longer feels quite real. The noise of cities, the crowds, the endless stimulation, it all seems overwhelming, almost violent. Many winter-over veterans describe a sense of dislocation when they return to civilization, a feeling that they no longer quite fit in the world they left behind. Antarctica changes you, says Colin Reeves. You can't spend 9 months at the bottom of the world, cut off from everything, and come back the same person. You're quieter, more patient. You appreciate things differently. Why do people return? Why do so many winter-over crew members sign up for a second season, a third, a fifth? The answer is complicated, personal, and deeply human. For some, it's the work, the science they can do here that can be done nowhere else. For others, it's the community, the intensity of relationships forged in isolation. But for many, it's something harder to articulate. A sense of rightness. A feeling that in this harsh, unforgiving place, stripped of all the distractions and superficialities of modern life, they have found something essential. Dr. Helena Voss, back from her deep field camp, puts it this way: out here, you can't lie to yourself. You can't hide behind status or possessions or the noise of the world. You're just you. And you either survive or you don't. There's a clarity to that. A simplicity. And once you've experienced it, everything else feels cluttered. Life in Antarctica is fundamentally a life of impermanence. No one is born here. No one dies here, not if things go according to plan. Everyone is a temporary guest, passing through on their way to somewhere else. The stations themselves are temporarily engineered to withstand the ice, but not to become part of it. The Antarctic Treaty, signed in 1961, enshrines this principle. The continent belongs to no nation. It is held in trust for science, for research, for the future. All human presence here is conditional, provisional, subject to the ultimate authority of the ice itself. And yet, in their temporary tenancy, the people who come here leave something behind. Not physical structures or permanent markers, but knowledge. Data that will shape our understanding of climate change. Discoveries that will expand our comprehension of the universe. stories that will inspire future generations to explore, to question, to endure. As the sun climbs higher, painting the ice in shades of gold and amber, the winter overcrew begins the slow process of returning to the world. They will pack their belongings. They will board the first flights out. They will rejoin the noise and chaos of civilization. But they will carry Antarctica with them. In the clarity of their thoughts, in the steadiness of their hands, in the quiet knowledge that they have lived, for a time, at the very edge of human experience and survived. Before you go, if this journey to the edge of the world has moved you, challenged you, or changed how you see our planet, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Because at Hidden Regions, we're committed to bringing you the stories that no one else tells, the hidden corners, the extreme places, the mysteries that reshape what it means to be human. And if you're still with me, drop a comment. Tell me, could you do it? Could you endure the long night? Could you live for 9 months at the bottom of the world? This is Antarctica. A quiet life lived at the very edge of our world. A place where humanity exists as a temporary guest in a realm of immense ancient power. A testament to our capacity to adapt, to explore, to endure. And in the deep silence of the polar night, you can feel the pulse of the planet itself, a humbling and unforgettable experience. This is Hidden Regions. And the world's greatest mysteries are just beginning to reveal themselves.